How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Fabulous Flix. It is January 1st, 2021. I don't know about you, but I am happy to see 2020 leave us. So for those of you that watched yesterday, I went over my top 5 movies for New Year's Eve, and the one that I was going to attempt to tackle was The Hobbit in the 4K remaster. I'm both excited and embarrassed to tell you that from 5 o'clock last night until 2 a.m., I sat through 9 hours of The Hobbit. You'll be happy to know that my lovely wife Stacy slept for approximately 6.5 of the 9 hours. I almost feel like she had as much fun as I did, but if you're watching this, you probably love movies, and you and I both know that I had more fun. So I've been following these 4K remasters since they started talking about them back in the early part of the year, obviously with great anticipation. I was excited to see that when Peter Jackson shot these, he actually shot these with a full 5K 3D enabled camera. Really cool fun factoid is that when he shot it, he just really wanted the best. He didn't really have a lot of intentions of coming back to remaster these. Wonderful coincidence. He went over frame by frame of these movies, both The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and the results were incredible. Please keep in mind this review is about the 4K discs, not The Hobbit itself. So the things that he focused on was making sure that you could watch from the first Hobbit all the way through to the very last Lord of the Rings, and they would look the same. Now, for those of you that are old enough to remember, Lord of the Rings came out first, The Hobbit came out many years later, and one of my big complaints was that they didn't look the same. So he's gone back, worked on all this coloring, and has made it so you can watch it from the first of The Hobbit to the end of the Lord of the Rings, and it would look like it was shot sequentially. First things first, what I loved about this movie was the coloring. As 4K and HDR are getting more and more prevalent, you know, buying a 4K TV with HDR is pretty inexpensive. Some of us even have projectors. Movies can get a little washed out. So you have movies such as, you know, and sometimes they're fun. Movies like Thor Ragnarok, Wonder Woman 84. They look great, but they're very saturated in color. Peter Jackson did a great job of coloring in these remasters. Skin tones were absolutely perfect. This is, without a doubt, the best visual 4K experience I have seen, even more so than Top Gun, which was originally my #1 pick. Next, the audio, the Atmos stuff was phenomenal. I'm fortunate enough to have an Atmos system here. And some of the battle scenes, especially in the Battle of the Five Armies, you could literally hear people battling behind you and things flying above you. I mean, what they did for location-based audio in this remaster is second to none. So I guess kind of overall as a takeaway, these movies were brilliant. I have very, very few, if any, concerns, and I'm actually going to go over my pros and cons now. So I'll get my one con out of the way. The one con, as you can see, is price. Now, to pick these up, it is $115 on Best Buy or Amazon. But before you go running for the hills and saying it's way too expensive, forget it, let me help you understand why it is $115. So number one, it's a full 4K transfer. And by that I mean they went back to the original footage and they retransferred it full in 4K. Now, some newer movies post-2000 were shot with digital cameras and they were only mastered in 2K. So in order to get it up, they had to scale it. That's why some of your new 4K movies don't look as good. This was a full 4K transfer from a master source, which was 5K with 3D enabled. So everything looks brilliant. The second thing was touched up CGI. So although Peter Jackson did not go back and reshoot the CGI scenes because that would take literally forever and that technology is just not practical at this point, he did go back and touch up frame by frame what those CGI parts were so that they looked more natural. So nothing looked like it was kind of out of place, and I got to tell you, he did a great job with it. Number 3, uncompressed and Atmos audio. If you have an Atmos set up at your house, The audio that was done anywhere from the front sound stage all the way to the heights and the rears, absolutely second to none. You can tell he literally sat down for these 3 movies and went over scene by scene where sound should be coming from. If you don't have Atmos and you simply have a normal surround sound, you will absolutely still notice an incredible increase. Like, he went over this stuff with care. You're going to hear a lot more things. You're going to feel a lot better surrounds. I don't want to say he overdid it, but he made sure that you knew you were in a surround environment. And number 4, and the reason why I really think that the $115 tag is justified here is because you get the 4K theatrical version, you get the 4K extended version, and you even get the digital codes inside this. So you can bring them with you with your iTunes library. So my fun factoid for the 4K remaster is that he shot these movies in a 5K 3D camera, having no expectations of coming back to them. And my favorite moment of this remaster, without a doubt, is Lady Galadriel, when she is confronting the Eye of Sauron for the first time and absolutely fires him all the way back to Mordor. She is an obscenely powerful being. She's one of the eldest elves out there, and she flexes her muscles and absolutely shows what will be the eventual villain, that he can't just walk around Middle-earth and do whatever he wants. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. I'm looking forward to going over the actual Lord of the Rings. Those ones I'm really interested to see what that coloring looked like. I remember seeing them originally, and they were a very cool temperature. So please watch out for that one. Until next time, I am Ged. This is Fabulous Flix, and enjoy some incredible, incredible movie watching. Take care.